All right, welcome to 5-Minute Fridays. We're here today with Vicki Phillips, now with the National Geographic Society, formerly with the Gates Foundation, and a Kentuckian. Vicki, thank you for joining us today. Our big issue to talk with you about is, of course, teaching and learning. We've been at education improvement for 3 decades in Kentucky. What does Kentucky need to do today to regain our status as a national leader?
Well, first I should say I'm a really proud Kentuckian and a fan of all of the work that the Pritchard Committee has done over the years. And I think, Kentucky has to, like so many other places, just put the same grit and determination and persistence that Kentucky is actually famous for behind these next 3 decades. You made so much progress in the last 3, and there's no magic bullet to improve education. It's a lot of hard work and a number of factors, like making sure you hold the standards high, the academic standards for students high, making sure that you really support and empower and help teachers grow and learn, and make sure that there's a great teacher in front of every student every year, that you pay attention to the kind of support systems that sit underneath kids and teachers, and that you do what you guys are so great at, which is help our citizens across the whole state understand the importance of these next 3 decades and the power of moving Kentucky now from the middle to the top.
Excellent. So we need to stay the course and double down, and that we will.
I couldn't have said it better. That's a nice, succinct way to
As we look on the horizon, what's a big issue we really haven't tackled in education improvement yet, and we really need to focus on?
I don't know that it's something you haven't tackled. I think you've made a lot of progress in the state, but we just know that the single most important factor in schools, in a kid's education, is a great teacher. And having a great teacher every single year of a student's career, there's just no substitute for the amount of progress a student makes and their long-term success in school. So I think, as you said, doubling down and really making sure that teachers in the state have the tools and resources and supports and the professional learning that they need to continuously improve, and that they have a voice and a seat at the table on issues that matter to them, which is what happens in their classrooms on an ongoing basis.
So teacher voice is just as important as student voice, as citizen voice, as we think about moving public education forward.
Absolutely, and you guys have such great examples of citizen and student voice. I'm sure that you can figure out teacher voice in this state as well.
As we look out again onto the horizon, we know the goalpost for students has moved compared to where we were 30 years ago. What do we need to be focusing on today, knowing what our kids are going to need in the immediate future and in the long term as they look out to an economy we can't even imagine?
Well, it's so important, as I said a minute ago, to keep those standards high in the state and to think about outcomes, or at least I think about outcomes for young people in 4 categories. I think about the academic skill set that students need to carry them into a future where their jobs and careers and lives are going to change over time, much more dramatically than perhaps some of ours did. 2, we want students to develop those lifelong habits of learning and to be great scholars of information that comes their way, so that they can discern what is real, what isn't, so that they can use that knowledge in their own lives and work. 3, we need them to have those all-encompassing, ubiquitous contemporary skills that will carry them through again from one career perhaps to another. Collaboration, teamwork, creativity, curiosity, problem solving, all of those contemporary skills are important. And lastly, I think we're also needing to make sure that we have outcomes around community and what it means to be part of something that's larger than yourself, to give, to respect others, to take responsibility in your community, and responsibility for looking out for your neighbor, which Kentucky does so well.
And that's really been part of the foundation of our vision for public education for generations.
Yes,
that engagement in something bigger than any one of us. And the skills you mentioned, those are the transferable skills that we know business leaders are hungry for in our young people. So ensuring that they're receiving those skills as they go through our education system is critically important to prepare them for the future. The Pritchard Committee is committed to moving Kentucky education into the top tier of all states. We know that in the last generation we've moved from the bottom of the national rankings to the middle, and we're confident that within this next generation we can move Kentucky into the top tier. We're grateful for the advice and the support of people like Vicki Phillips, a Kentuckian who's gone on to do wonderful things and continues to come back to our state to share what she's learned. Thank you, Vicki. We'll see you next Friday.